G'day everyone and welcome to the Eternal Gathering here to gather with another podcast, and today we're going to be doing a review of the new set that is coming out next week, Zendikar Rising, as well as having a bit of a chat as to what's going to be coming out next year. They've done a whole, year's worth of magic products, the main products. Obviously there will be other products mixed in between the products that you're just seeing on screen right now. But there will be a few standard sets that they've already announced, as well as two other supplementary sets. So we'll have a quick chat about those first before we get into the Zendikar Rising review. So next year, in the first quarter, so just in January, early January, we got Kaldim, the new set, world inspired by Vikings. It's a Norse mythology. They are going to reprint, not reprint, sorry, they're going to print 4 dual lands that you will talk about in Zendikar Rising that have 6 of them. They're going to print the other 4 in Kaldim, which then makes me think that maybe snow might not be the centerpiece of Kaldim, which is what people were thinking, because those lands themselves are not snow lands. But then again, they might be the only lands that are not snow lands in the set. So there is some rumors that snow will be returning back in that set. I see that as definitely a possibility, but with what we do know that the 4 Kaldim is the lands that are going to be printed in there, the rare lands, are not snow permanents. So it'll be interesting to see if that actually means that there isn't going to be any snow involved in Kaldim in terms of that mechanic, or if it's just those cards are just going to be their own kind of like cycle, and then all the other kind of lands and other things like basic lands and all that kind of stuff will be snow permanents. So we'll see what happens there. Kaldim also, people are thinking that it is the home of Garrick. So Garrick might be making another appearance in Kaldim. We shall see. Also gods. Norse mythology do have gods. Pardon me. And so there might be gods as well in Kaldim. They also said that modal double-faced cards will be coming to Kaldim and Strixhaven, which is coming out a bit later, which we'll talk about again in Zendikar Rising. So my, prediction, I'll do kind of quick predictions for each set. My prediction is that, we're going to be getting gods and demigods possibly in Kaldim. Next will be Time Spiral, which will probably coming out March, would be my guess. Remastered. So this is something actually I spoke about before, and have thought, why isn't Wizards doing this? Which is reprint sets. So reprinting whole blocks. And my initial thought was, you get a box of a set that's or a block, sorry, that's been reprinted, and there will be 12 packs of each. So for example, if you had the original Zendikar, it'd be Zendikar followed by Wardwake and then Rise the Eldrazi, so 12 packs of each. But I like this idea actually better, where they're remastering each of these sets. So they're remastering Time Spiral. So Time Spiral set had Time Spiral, they also had Planet Chaos and Future Sight. So any cards that were part of that can be reprinted in Time Spiral. On top of that, there is going to be a whole nother 121 extra cards that are going to be time shifted, and these time shifted cards are actually cards that are in modern frames, but they're going to be put into olden day frames. So an example they gave of that was Chalice of the Void. Maybe if I can look it up here. Chalice of the Void Time Spiral remastered, and this is what it's probably gonna look like or this is definitely what it's going to look like. So you're going to get a card pretty much like this. These are actually the 3 cards that they did show off. Charge of the Void, Path to Exile, and Relentless Rats. So we're going to get cards that have got more modern borders, and they're going to go and make them into olden borders. So that's pretty interesting to have 121 cards extra that are reprints that will have that done to them. I believe Tarmogoyf will definitely be getting a reprint in here. I wonder if they're going to use the future shifted kind of cards, the look of that. I do like the look of future shifted cards. My guess is it's probably not, but I would definitely think there's a few good cards in this block. If you think about it, like all the packs. So Pact of Negation. Sorry, yeah, Pact of Negation, Slaughter Pact, Summoner's Pact. Those are all in this block as well. I reckon all those will be reprinted. So there are definitely some good value to have had in here, and also it'll be a really good draft environment. I would imagine this would be probably the price of Modern Horizons, so slightly higher than the standard sets would be my guess. Then in quarter 2 we got Strixhaven, so this is probably late April, and this is a brand new, again, like Caldeum, a brand new plane that we're visiting, and they say 5 colleges vie for supremacy. So a lot of people think it's very reminiscent of Harry Potter, and that's what I get from it too. We shall see what it is. Again, modal double face cards will be in this set. My guess would be one side would be a spell and another a creature, the creature that plays that spell. So I would think that that's what they're going to be doing there. Not much else is known about that. 5 colleges, is it 5 different colors of magic, or are we going to be getting wedges? Maybe we're going to get 4 colors. We'll see what happens in Strixhaven, but interesting kind of set that if it does kind of be reminiscent of Harry Potter, that will be interesting kind of to see. So yeah, a new set is always kind of, I guess, exciting to see what happens. Then in quarter 3, when we usually get our core sets, they're not going to be core sets next year. So they're going to do a crossover with Dungeons and Dragons and Adventures into the Forgotten Realms. Like, I don't play Dungeons and Dragons, so I'm not really well knowledged or versed in what Dungeons and Dragons really will bring to Magic. I do know a little bit of the basic kind of stuff, but I guess this is very interesting also to see how it works and also how popular it is, because I believe if this is going to be popular, guys, they're going to be doing this more and more often. They also did mention, it's not here, a crossover with AMC's Walking Dead for a Secret Lairs that's coming out later, probably next year, or maybe this year for October, so when the Halloween comes out. So these are kind of crossovers. They did the Godzilla crossover as well. These are kind of things that maybe they're trying to dip their toes into to see what the response is by the public. And we might see more of these kind of crossovers in the future with Magic. So interesting to see how this is done. Not much really to say here. They do have a party mechanic in Zendikar. I don't believe party will be a mechanic in Dungeons & Dragons, but I think you know, there might be some kind of I guess underlying theme of having rogues, clerics, warriors, and whatever the other type is in Dungeons and Dragons Forgotten Realms, but it won't be an actual main component of it. That would be my prediction. Modern Horizons 2, this will be coming out after Dungeons and Dragons, so that's about what, June, July. So this is probably August when we're going to get Modern Horizons, and they did say that the price would be basically the same as the last Modern Horizons. But one big thing that they did announce in this Modern Horizons, as you see, it says exciting new cards and reprints for Modern. Before it was just only exciting new cards and reprints of old cards that are new to Modern. With Modern Horizons 2, they're actually reprinting the 5 enemy fetch lands. So that's Arid Mesa, Scalding Tarn, Marsh Flats, Verdant Catacombs, and I can't remember the 5th one. Misty Rainforest, there we go. So those are all going to be reprinted in Modern Horizons as a rare in normal packs in Modern Horizons 2. Let me just reiterate, there are going to probably be collectors or VIP boosters for each set as well. So that's why they said in regular boosters of like the draft boosters of Modern Horizons 2. My prediction is that there will be definitely VIP Modern Horizons 2, and those will have foils and full arts and all that kind of stuff. Last Modern Horizons was really cool. It did kind of freshen Modern up. Modern is quite healthy at the moment, but it's also always good to kind of get some new kind of stuff in it. And I prefer to get it every couple of years as opposed to every single standard set, which is what has been happening in the last year, where the power level has creeped up a lot, that we've gotten nearly every set having cards affect Modern quite significantly. I liked the idea of Modern Horizon when it first came out, before the kind of power creep in Standard. I think that's what they should kind of stick to, is kind of have this as their power creep of Modern, and also reprinting cards into Modern from older sets to make it more of a legacy kind of non-reserve list legacy format, I guess. I think that's what Wizards is trying to do to kind of combat the reserve list, is print all the cards that aren't on the reserve list into Modern, making Modern like a legacy light. That's what I think they are going for in their end game, is my prediction. And then finally, we're getting 2 sets. I don't know how it is going to work, but 2 sets of Innistrad. So it's Innistrad Werewolves and Innistrad Vampires. The set names are not final. And we're going back to Innistrad, obviously. And I'm guessing one's very thematic on werewolves and one's very thematic on vampires. I'm not sure if they're coming out at the same time or they're coming out within a month of each other, and how that's going to work in a draft format. I'm guessing double face cards will be in both of these, and not the modal double face cards. I think just normal transform ones that we are used to from Innistrad. So every kind of set here, maybe not Dungeons and Dragons, but every other set will have double face cards in some regards. So yeah, really interesting to see what's going to be happening for 2021. Alright, let's go to Zendikar Rising, and we go to Mythic Spoiler here, since I like the use of this and it's very easy to see. And we're going to first start off with these 5 Mythics here that you see on screen. So we've got Ameria's Call, Seagate Restoration, Agadeem's Awakening, Shadowskull Smashing, and Ancient Green Warden. Actually not Ancient Green Warden, this one. Turn-Turber Symbiosis. Those are the 5 I want to talk about. So each of these, on the other side, as you can see in the bottom left, have land. So you can make this either a land, or you can play it for its sorcery side. So I'll just show you a quick picture of Shadowskull Smashing. So as you can see, one side is the spell, the other side is the land. The land enters the battlefield tapped unless you pay 3 life. So you can deal 3 damage to yourself to have it come into play untapped, which is a very, very interesting mechanic. And a lot of people saying is very much something that could be game breaking, just like the companions were from Ikoria, because basically these act as lands, and they go basically in your land slot, allowing you to play more spells than you normally would. So you could have 4 of these in your deck, but they wouldn't count as sorceries. They'd be counting as lands, because you can always play it for its land side. And same goes for every single one of these ones here. So, question is, do you play this in your decks regardless? Um, Answer for that, no. I don't think you play all of these or any of these in your deck. If your deck has blue, red, black, white, green, whatever, I don't think you automatically add these in and switch them out for your lands. I think if you're playing 3 colors, it'll be very difficult to be playing any of these unless you specifically need these. The ones that I can think of that specifically 3 color or 4 color that will use this, and I'm not talking about standard. We're not talking about standard here, guys. We're talking about Pioneer Modern mostly, and Argadine's Awakening I think seems amazing for Death Shadow. I think Death Shadow would definitely play at least 2 of, would be my guess, but you could probably play all 4 of and take away your swamps because the ability to shock yourself and fetch and stuff is 3 damage. This is also doing 3 damage, so you're wanting to hurt yourself with Death Shadow and getting Death Shadow out. If Death Shadow dies, then if you do draw this later in the game, for 4 mana you can bring Death Shadow back from your graveyard into play. So it gives you a little bit of extra, I guess, late game if they get rid of your Death Shadow. And don't forget, guys, this is a land slot, so you're not playing extra spells. You're not taking away from your lands. This land is really good in a deck that wants to lose a lot of life because you're paying the 3 life to play it. So Aghanim Awakening, I definitely will see being played in Death Shadow in Modern, and definitely the only kind of card I would consider playing in a deck that has more than 2 colors. Otherwise, if you have 2 colors, then you can start thinking about, yeah, can I play these cards? Emira's Core can be a card that you can use definitely in control. Playing this for, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana as kind of a finisher, putting 2 4/4 white angels into play very late in the game. You can definitely play. I could see this being a 1 or 2 off in a control deck. Same thing for Seagate Restoration. You can play 1 or 2 of this. The effect is not super strong where you're going to win the game with it, but it gives you a bit of flexibility because of it being a land that you can play it for the land if you need it. If not, you can hold it and play this later in the game when you have the mana to cast it. Shadow Skull Smashing, I think, is very playable. It does X damage up to 2 target creatures or planeswalkers, and if X is 6 or more, it deals twice that damage. And I think this is a really nice card to have in your decks as well. If you're playing any red, you can play, I guess, 1, 2, 3 of, and it's quite versatile in being able to play it for 3 mana or playing it for 8 mana to get the ability. And also don't forget, it just comes in as a land if you need to be. I don't think any specifically this card could be played in any deck specifically, but I think probably the 3rd best out of the 5. I would say Aghanim is probably the best card, followed by Turntable Symbiosis, which we're going to talk to about now. 7 mana to look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. And if its CMC is 3 or less, you put 3 +1/+1 counters on it, and then put the rest on the bottom of your library. This I think can definitely see play in Modern as well, in the decks of Titan Shift or the other prime time. What's it called? The one that bounces the lands. So what you want to do is play this as your land, and you can also always bounce it with the bounce lands to be able to play the sorcery side to look for your Primeval Titans. Also, if you're playing Titan Shift, you can also play this as a 1 or 2 of, and then if you need to play it as a green source, play as a green source. Otherwise, another way to find your Primeval Titans. So definitely a very good card here. And also, even if you weren't playing that strategy, it can get any creature onto the battlefield. So you can definitely do some shenanigans with this. So definitely going to see play in Modern, probably. I think this will definitely 100% see play in Standard, and Pioneer possibly as well. Alright, now we're going to some more mythics. So we've got Ancient Green Warden, so 4 and 2 green for 5/7 reach. You may play lands from your graveyard. If a land entering the battlefield causes a trigger ability of a permanent you control, the trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Great card for Commander. Definitely going to see a lot of Commander play. Otherwise, I'm not sure if you would be able to play this. Again, you might be able to play this in Titan Shift to get the extra triggers off the Valakuts. But then again, I don't think it's really necessary. I don't think you want to be playing Ancient Green Warden in that deck. Angel of Destiny, another card that probably could see play in Commander. Don't see any play anywhere else. Flying, double strike. Whenever a creature you control deals damage, you gain that much life, and so does the opponent. So you always making your opponent gain life. And then beginning of the end step, if you have at least 15 or more starting life total, and you get to make your opponent lose the game if you attacked them with Angel of Destiny. So I really like how it is a end of step and not being an upkeep trigger. The only bad thing is you have to attack the opponent, make sure this is still alive at the end step before that trigger can be resolved, and then also you can only kill one opponent per turn if you have one of these out. It's not a legendary, so you can play multiples if you're playing non-Commander formats, but in Commander you're only going to be playing one, and so you can only take out one opponent per time. We'll skip Jace, we'll come back to Jace in a sec. Scourge of the Skyclaves, this is a really interesting card, and another card I think that can definitely see play in older formats. So 1 in a black, with kicker of 4 in a black, so you can pay, what's that, 5, 6, 7 mana? And if you do that, each player, including yourself, loses half their life, rounded up. And its power and toughness is equal to 20 minus the highest life total among players. So, again, Death Shadow. I think this can be definitely played in Death Shadow as another threat. I think that this will definitely have some legs in the Modern format, because in Modern, your opponents are usually also using shock lands, fetch lands. They're going to be less than 20 life on their first turn, and so will you. So by turn 2, this could easily be a 5/5 or higher, a minimum 3/3, I believe. But it can definitely be quite easily a 5/5 on turn 2. And the only thing that it doesn't have that I'm actually might have really pushed it is flying. If this had flying, this definitely would be really competitive with the evasion. But even though it doesn't have that, I think this could definitely see play in a Death Shadow kind of deck or a Burn kind of deck, where you're losing a lot of life, your opponents are losing a lot of life, and you have another threat on the battlefield. And if you're playing Burn, you're getting attacked, you're shocking yourself, and you're doing damage to your opponent, this can also be another threat there. Leyline Tyrant, 2 and 2 red for a 4/4 flying dragon, and then you don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases end, so you can hold the red mana available to you. But then also on top of that, if this dies, you may pay any amount of red mana, and when you do, it does that much damage to any target. So you can go straight to the opponent's life total with that, and do a lot of damage if you're able to keep this alive for a few turns. Definitely a card that could see play in Pioneer, Not sure about modern. It might be a little bit too slow in modern. There's too many ways to kind of get rid of it. Pioneer, I can definitely see this scene play in that. You could easily play this on turn 4, turn 5, get heaps of your mana, play a fling, do quite a lot of damage to your opponent from the fling and on top of the extra mana you have floating. Tazri, Beacon of Unity, basically a commander card. Party is a new mechanic where you need a cleric, a wizard, a warrior, and a rogue on the battlefield. Makes one party, so as long as you have one of each of those, you got a party, and that's where the spell reduction comes into play. So this could cost 1 white if you already have 4 other creatures on the battlefield. Then you can look at the top 6 cards of your library and reveal up to 2 cleric, rogue, warrior, wizard, and or ally cards from among them, and put them to your hand, and put the rest in the bottom of your library. So yeah, again, just a card for commander really. Doesn't see any play anywhere else. Seagate Stormcaller, interesting kind of card, but I don't think this will see play. 1 and 1 blue for a 2/1 with a kicker of 4 in blue. So again, 7 mana if you want to kick it. When it enters the battlefield, copy the next instant sorcery spell that you will play this turn, 2 or less. And if this was kick, you get to copy this spell twice. So if you think about cost 2 or less, Pioneer, there's not that many great cards that you want to be copying necessarily. Modern, yes, there is. You would like to be copying maybe a Path to Exile, maybe a Lightning Bolt, those kind of cards. But having the CMC 2 or less does restrict it somewhat. Also, it doesn't have flash, so you can't play this during your opponent's turn and then be able to play your spell and then copying it. It's kind of a cool take on Snapcaster Mage, but I think it's just too slow. I don't think there's enough targets that you want to be hitting. I think Snapcaster Mage does a much better job. Doesn't have any restrictions, so I don't see this seeing play outside of standard, to be honest. Drana returns. Drana the Last Blood Chief, 3 and 2 black for a 4/4 flying Vampire Cleric. When it attacks, the defending player chooses a non-legendary creature card in your graveyard, and you may return that to the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter, and it's a vampire, in addition to its other types. Again, commander, yes. Anywhere else, no. I don't see this thing any play. Too slow, non-legendaries as well. You need to be able to having cards in your graveyard in the first place. I don't see this thing play, unfortunately, outside of commander. Morog, Fury of Aquam, 4 and 2 red for a 6/6. And then each creature you control gets +1/+0 each time it has attacked this turn. And the landfall ability. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, if it's your main phase, there's an additional combat phase after this phase. The beginning of that combat, untap all creatures you control. So, there is ways to go infinite with this, definitely. 6 mana is a lot. Won't see play outside of standard or commander, I don't believe, unless there was a kind of combo-y kind of deck that allows you to attack multiple times or infinite times, and it can do it really quickly in a modern format or Pioneer format, but I don't think there's cards that will be able to do that consistently. But definitely a really cool card for commander. I definitely could see seeing a lot of play there. Otherwise, I like the mechanic landfall and seeing it back. Cool, interesting card, neat card, but constructed, playable, not really is my prediction. Ashaya Soul of the Wild. This is actually a really cool card. So 3 and 2 green for a elemental where the power toughness is equal to the number of lands you control. And it also makes all non-token creatures forest lands. So all your creatures become lands. Ashaya itself is a land. Um, so as soon as you play this, you're probably playing it for 5 mana. So having 5 lands in play. You might have a bit less. You might have 4 or 3, depending on what format you're playing. And then making it itself a land, as well as the creatures that might be on the battlefield, will definitely put its power toughness quite high. And needs to be not really dealt with straight away, but it can really help you ramp, obviously. So if your opponent doesn't have any answer to it, and you have something else that's bigger and stronger that you want to ramp into, like an Ugin or something like that, then yeah, this could definitely get out of hand. It doesn't have any real protection for itself, or gives it the ability to go trample or anything like that. The areas of kind of pseudo protection if you were like destroying all non-land permanents or non-land things get returned to your hand, because they're all lands, all the creatures that won't be affected, like Cyclonic Rift. So again, really cool for Commander. But otherwise, I don't see it seeing any constructed play. Now we're going to go through some of these cards. I don't think there's too many here. There are a couple that I do want to talk about. So Philadelphia Retreat, not going to see any play outside of Standard or Commander. Charics, the Raging Isle, interesting. You can pay the 3 mana here to give it +X/-X, where X is the number of islands you control, and you can pump it many times. It's a 0/17, it's a good blocker. It also has a little bit of help in terms of making it cost 2 more to cast to target Charics. So wouldn't be surprised if someone kind of tries to play some janky kind of stuff for it. But I don't think it's going to see any real constructed play. Nullpress of Oblivion, a cute card again. Venice Lifelink 2/1 for 2, and if you kick it, if you pay this for 6 mana, you get a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. Too slow in older formats is my opinion of that. Shadow Skull Charger, 3 mana for 4/3, trample haste. Pretty decent stats. You can kick it for 2, and if you kick it, it gets +++ counter. So it becomes a 5/4. But here's a drawback. At the beginning of your end step, if it doesn't have a +++ counter, you have to return back to your hand. So if you're playing it for 5 mana, you're getting a 5 for trample haste. A bit slow for older formats. And 3 mana, bring it down, trample haste, having to return back to your hand. I don't know if you necessarily want to be doing that every single turn, and not progressing your board even further. On Reef's Ooze, enter battlefield, put a ++ counter on target creature you control, including itself. When it attacks, put a ++ counter on each attacking creature with a ++ counter on it. So you can put it itself, pump it up, or other creatures and pump them up. Cool card for Commander. I don't think it's see play outside of Standard. I think it might see some play in Standard, but outside of Standard, I don't think that we see any play. Squad Commander, Party kind of stuff. Party, I don't think we'll see any constructed play whatsoever, so I don't think these kind of matter, any of these two here. Shadow's Bank, this is an interesting card actually. 5 mana, they exile all creatures and planeswalkers with CMC at 3 or less from the battlefield and from all graveyards. I can definitely see this thing playing Pioneer, not in anywhere else. I think it's a bit too slow for Modern, but definitely for Pioneer, you could see play there. Modern it is a good kind of card that will hit a lot of cards in Modern, but 5 mana again, I don't know if you would be wanting to do this at 5 mana. The upside is the exiling the creatures and the planeswalkers. That is a big upside, so it might see some play in Modern, but I would say more likely Pioneer. Now here is Lithoforming. This is an interesting card. So 2 red and an X. To sacrifice X lands, and for each land sacrificed this way, you draw a card, and then you can play an additional X lands this turn. But they enter the battlefield tapped. Not sure where this could see play. It definitely has potential for a combo kind card again, Titan Shift, Amulet Titan, those kind of decks, it might, work in that. But I'm not exactly sure if you're going to be able to pay so much mana to be able to do that, if that's needed. So I don't think it's going to see much play, will be my, I guess, prediction for that. Except for Commander, you can play this in a landfall matters kind of deck, Commander, and that would trigger a lot of landfall triggers, which should be good. Kazandu Mammoth, another one. So these ones actually enter the battlefield tapped, the land side. So I wouldn't suggest playing this in older formats, because you don't want to be playing the tapped land necessarily. 3 mana for 3/3. Gets +2/+2 whenever land enters the battlefield. Nothing to kind of gawk at there. Archon of Emiria. Each player can't cast more than one spell each turn. Non-basic lands your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped. Each player can't cast more than one spell, that's including you. So unless you really specifically want this card, I don't think it will be seeing any play. Glassball Mimic becomes a copy of a creature, and it's a rogue edition. Yeah, it's okay. Not sure. Again, you want to be having this as a tap land come into play. Skyclave Shade, 2 mana for a creature that can't block. If it was kicked for an extra 3 mana, you get to put 2/++ counters on it. And then it has landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield control, you may return this card from your graveyard. You may cast this card from your graveyard. Okay, so you may cast it from your graveyard. So you can cast it recurring. Not sure if you want to be doing that in older formats. It's probably a bit too slow to be casting it from your graveyard. Pioneer, maybe in a dredge kind of format in Pioneer, that might see some play in there. Otherwise, yeah, I don't think it will see play in Modern. Wayward Guide Beast, 1 mana for 2/2 travel haste, really good stats, but when it does combat damage to a player, you have to return a land you control to its owner's hand. So again, you're not putting forth anything apart from a 2/2 creature each turn if you play this on turn 1. You're not going to be expanding your board, furthering your board. So again, a very bulk rare here. Scoot Swarm, another bulk rare, unless you play in Commander. Landfall trigger. If you have 6 or more lands, you get to create a token copy of this. Otherwise, if it's less 6 lands, you get a 1/1 insect. Not much really to say there. Again, Archpriest of Iona. Power is equal to the amount of creatures in your party, so it's always going to be a 1/2 on turn 1. And beginning of combat on your turn, if you have full party, so you have all 4 creatures, a creature gets +1/+1 and fly to end turn. Not really cool. Not going to do much. Again, party is very weak mechanic. Just because you have to have your creatures on the battlefield already, and having 4 creatures stay alive is quite difficult, and you should be winning by then if you have 4 creatures on the battlefield. Master of Winds, when it enters battlefield, draw 2 cards and discard a card. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery or wizard spell, you may change its power and toughness. Again, very slow, nothing happening here. Moving on, Inscription of Ruin. There's a whole cycle of these inscriptions. So 2 and a black, it's a sorcery. You can kick it for an extra 2 and 2 black. So that's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. So 7 mana, you can choose all 3 of these. Otherwise, 3 mana, you can make someone discard 2 cards. Turn type creature card of mana costs 2 or less when you grab it in the battlefield, or destroy a creature mana costs 3 or less. A bit over costed for what it does. I don't think I'll see any play in older formats. Magnetic Channeler, as long as there are 4 or more instant and or sorcery cards in your graveyard, it gets +3/+1, so it's a 4/4. You can discard a card, exile top 2 cards of the library, and choose one of them, and you play that card this turn. Interesting. Storm plays a lot of instants and sorceries. Arclight Phoenix plays a lot of instants and sorceries. Pioneer, Arclight Phoenix, maybe. Otherwise, I don't think I see any play otherwise. Crag play Balaf 5 and 2 green, 6/6. Spell copy cast counted. Hexproof Haste, pretty cool. And it was kick, it's 4 counters on it. No trample, so again, bulk rare. Yeah, bulk rare basically. Description of Abundance, instant speed, 2 mana, put 2 plus counters on target creature. Target player gains X life, where X is the greatest power among creatures they control, and target creature you control fights another target creature you don't control. If you pay 5 mana, you get all of them. 2 mana, and it's not really going to be doing much. There's nothing there that you really want from this kind of card. Kargan Intimidator, cards can't be block warriors. You can make a target creature a warrior. Oh, sorry, a coward, sorry. You can give this guy +1/+1, and you can also give it trample. You cannot do it more than 1 time. So you can only do 1 of each, and that's it. Once you've done all 3, you can't pay any more mana to do more things. Not a great card, again. Spell costs 1 less cast for each card in your party, so it could cost 1 black. If it is 1 black, you search your library for a card, put it into your hand, and shove your library. And if you have full party, you may cast a spell, or cast a spell with simply 4 less. So if you do have full party, which is highly unlikely, it's a really good card. Otherwise, it doesn't really do much, unfortunately. Confounding Conundrum. I guess you could kind of say if you are going to play, if there are warriors, rogues, or clerics or wizards in like the older formats, then it's a cool card to kind of search something that you might need. But then again, I don't know if it's going to be good enough. I don't know what decks would be playing those type of creatures. Confounding Conundrum, cool card for Uro, so it can stop Uro in a way. When it enters battlefield, draw a card. So that's a really good. I like how these in terms that don't do anything when it comes to play. Don't really see a lot of play, but at least this one draws a card, and it's very niche. As we go and read into it, whenever land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, if that player had another land enter the battlefield under their control this turn, they have to return a land back to their hand. So they can't get any more than 1 land drop per turn, basically. So slowing down ramp decks in the standard, which is happening right now. Again, this could be a card that you could definitely play in your sideboard against Titan Shift or Amulet kind of decks. Very niche though, sideboard card possibility there in Modern. Legion Angel, 2 and 2 white for 4/3, so good stats, flying. And when it ETBs, you can search for another one outside of the game, so you can look for a card in your sideboard and another Legion Angel. I don't think you'd be playing this necessarily in older formats. Definitely could see playing standard though. Eliminate Aspirant, beginning of combat on your turn for +1 counter on target creature control. If you're playing counters kind of matters decks, and yeah, this could see play in Pioneer. Coral Helm Chronicler, whenever you cast a kick spell, draw a card and discard a card. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library, reveal a card with a kick ability on it. Not really helpful there. Spell costs 1 less cast opponent controls no basic lands. Destroy a target creature. Again, it comes into play, tap the land. I don't think necessarily you want to be doing that in older formats. Valakut Exploration. Now this is definitely a card that could see modern play. And I think very much in the Scape Shift decks. Titan Shift decks. So landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, exile top card of your library. You may play that land for as long as this remains exiled. However, at the beginning of your end step, if there are cards exiled by Valakut Exploration, you put them into your graveyard and then deal damage to each opponent equal to the amount of cards that were put there that turn. So if you're playing a few lands per turn, you can do a couple extra damage. And definitely if you play Scape Shift and you Scape Shift 5 cards, bring 5 cards in, you get an extra 5 damage, 5 landfall triggers. That's an extra 5 damage that you can do to an opponent. So it might see play in Titan Shift. Amulet Titan maybe not so much because it's not playing the Scape Shift unless they do play Scape Shift variant, but definitely in the Scape Shift variant. Even if you play, just your Titan, Primal Titan, you're going to get 2 landfall triggers. You can also just play extra cards off the top, so it definitely gives you card advantage as well. The drawback is that you might exile a card that you might need, and you don't have the mana to play it, and go into your graveyard. That could be problematic, maybe, but definitely a card considering, worth considering. Sorry, for modern. Teruji Paragon doesn't do much. It's a cleric, rogue, warrior, and wizard at all times. Kicker 3, if it kicks, you look top 6 cards, reveal a creature, shares a creature type with it. That's boring. Maw of Skyclaves, 3 mana, comes into play, you can attach it to target creature you control, it gives it +2/+2 flying and first strike. That's pretty good stats. Equip cost is 4, so it's quite hefty. All the equipments in this set, they come into play, they attach straight away, which is kind of new. Usually you have to pay the equip cost. So I like that. The fact that you can do that, have that one free equip, and I hope to see that going forward. But otherwise, not going to really see much play there. This one is 4 mana. You can return to 2 target creatures to his hand, scry 2, draw 2 cards. Auto play creates an XX blue illusion creature token with X number of cards in their hand. Again, not doing much that you don't really want. Nighthawk Scavenger. This card 100% will be play in Pioneer. 3 mana for a 1+ star 3. So the star is equal to the amount of cards types in your opponent graveyards. So this could easily again be a 3, 4, 5, 6, 3 flying death touch lifelink card in Pioneer. In modern as well. Modern, it can get bolted quite easily, whereas in Pioneer there is no bolt, so it's a bit harder to get kind of kill the Nighthawk Scavenger. Also being 3 mana, Fatal Push doesn't hit it either. So I can definitely see this team playing in Pioneer in those aggro mono black aggro decks. Definitely could see playing there. Chronic Robber, 3 mana, 2/2 haste. Deals combination player creates a 0/1 artifact creature token. It can't block and deals 1 damage to the opponent. Again, not really seeing much play. Lotus Cobra, reprint, we know what it does. Here we go, another Show on land permanence. It's a land. Again, I don't think you want to be really playing it. Maddening Cacophony could see play in the mill decks in modern. It is 2 mana to mill 8 cards, and if you pay 6 mana, you can mill half their deck. So potentially could see play in mill decks there. Soul Shatter, 3 mana, each opponent sacrifices a creature or plays with its highest commander cost amongst creatures and planeswalkers they control. Instant speed, so I really think this is cool because of instant speed. Definitely could see playing in Pioneer. Roiling Vortex, 2 mana, at the beginning of each play, okay, this deals 1 damage to them. When a player casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast that spell, it deals 5 damage to that player. Opponents can't gain life this turn. Good card against the Fires and Invention decks in Pioneer as a sideboard slot. Swarm Shambler, 1 mana for a 1/1. When creature you control with a +++ as a target. So when it becomes target, you get to create a 1/1 great instant token. 1 mana, put a +++ counter. Nah, not gonna see much play anyway. Skyclave Apparition. You get to exile 1 target non-land permanent you don't control with CMC 4 or less. So it's okay. It's okay. Could see some play in Pioneer. Thief Skydiver. Don't think it's going to see play outside of Commander. Tubarax, Hope's Demise, 3 mana for a flying creature that has lifelink as long as it has 5 more ++ counters on it. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, put a ++ counter on this. If that was a cleric, you may draw a card and lose 1 life. Malekith Awakening, put a number of cards from your hand above your library, then draw that many cards +1. Could see some play in Pioneer. It is a tap land again, but it has the ability to draw cards in red, which red doesn't really have. Otherwise, uncommons, nothing really much to see in the uncommon slots that I can think of or remember. Again, the uncommon slots, they come into play tapped. This looks interesting to be able to look at top 6 card library and real instant sorcery from among them for control decks, but again, No, probably not for Modern or Pioneer. Not much there. We'll keep going. There are some other cards that I do want to talk about. Let's talk about actually Jace real quick. So Jace is 3 mana for a 4 loyalty Planeswalker. If you kick it for an extra 2, so if you pay 5 mana, you get another copy of him with 1 loyalty. You get +1 to scry 2, and then draw a card and reveal it. Remove a number of loyalty counters equal to that card's CMC. Don't see any play anywhere apart from probably standard. Unfortunately, just being able to scry 2 for +1, it doesn't protect itself. And then drawing a card, you're getting some value if you're able to make a copy of it, but then you're paying 5 mana, which is quite a lot, and there's lots of other Planeswalkers you can play at 5 mana in older formats. The other 2 Planeswalkers is Nahiri, Heir of Ancients. Only going to see play in Commander. It's got to do with equipments, and there's just not enough equipments in constructed formats. You can make it a 1/1 token and attach equipment to it. Look at the top 6 cards of your library, reveal warrior or equipment, put it in your hand. Not really helpful there. -3, deals twice the damage on number of equipment you control to target creature or planeswalker, not even player. So definitely won't see any play. Nissa, on the other hand, I think is very interesting. 2, a black and a green for a 4 loyalty, but it has a landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield, you get to put a loyalty counter on it. That is really good ability. Really good ability there to be able to practically +2 each turn if you think about it after its first turn. Really massive. So you're always going to play it +1 on the first turn. Second turn, you're going to land 4, so it's gone up to 6. Then you can just -5. And the -5 is amazing. So +1 is untapped target land you control, becomes a 3/3 elemental with menace until end of turn. That's fine. Gives you something to attack with. Won't be able to block with it, but something to attack with. The -5, really interesting. Any creature card with CMC less than or equal to the number of land cards from your battlefield, from the graveyard, sorry. Yeah, sorry, from your hand or battle or graveyard. So you can put any card with CMC equal to the amount of lands you control. So if you're milling yourself and you get something -5, put it into play. I reckon this card is really good. Definitely will see playing Commander. Definitely could see playing Pioneer. Could see playing Modern. I think this card is actually slept on. Not many people are talking about it. The ability for it to get a loyalty every time a land enters the battlefield. If you're playing a lot of land drops, this can go up really high, and then you can just -5 to get stuff back from your graveyard or from your hand, guys. From your hand. If you have something in your hand, you can potentially play 2 spells. You play something else for 5 mana, and you play a creature from your hand that's going to be 5 or 6 mana. So very strong, very strong Planeswalker. Omniflux of Creation will just be playing in Commander. Draws a card when ETBs. And then landfall triggers up to 3 times. So if it's the first time you get 4 life, second time you get 4 mana, and if it's the third time, 4 damage to each opponent, each planeswalker you don't control. If you landfall more than that, you don't get anything else. Yeah, I don't see it play outside of Commander. Verazol enters battle with a +1 counter on it for each mana spent to cast it. So you're going to get at least, you can pay for X and a blue to make it a 2/2, or you can pay for 3. When you cast a kick spell, you may remove 2 +1 counters. If you do copy that spell, you may choose your cards for a copy. Interesting kind of mechanic. Commander, again, kicker doesn't really see much play in constructed. Gragmork, Skyclave Ravager is battlefield with 3 +1 counters on it. Whenever another creature you control dies, you add a +1 counter, put it on this guy instead. When he dies, you get to create an XX Hydra where X is the number of +1 counters. So when it dies, you get it back. In older formats, you're going to get Path to Exile most of the time. Akiri, Fearless Voyager, equipment. Oh, sorry. Whenever you attack a player with one or more equipped creatures, draw a card. So you're only going to draw one extra card, and you may unattach an equipment from creature control, and that gains indestructible and tap it. Commander, that's about it. Parlaf World Sculptor is a very interesting elemental. 6 mana for 5/5. When it's battlefield, you create a 0/1 planet token for each basic land you control. So older formats, not so much basic lands you're going to be playing. But it has a really strong landfall ability where it gives +4/+4 counters on any planet you control. So definitely Commander, I can see it's being played. But other than that, I don't see it being played anywhere else. Zagras, Thief of Heartbeats, 4 and a black and a red. Cost 1 less for each party. Each creature in your party. Fly and Death Touch Haste. So other creatures you also control have Death Touch. Whenever a creature you control deals damage to a Planeswalker that has Death Touch. No, not even that has Death Touch. It just deals damage to a Planeswalker. Destroy a Planeswalker. It's a legendary. That kind of pulls it back a bit. It's going to cost 6 mana most of the time. So I don't see it playing any constructed formats. Kaza, Flying Haste, next instant sorcery spell you cast this turn costs X less to cast, or X is the number of wizards you control. Nah, not really doing it for me. Livala, new Livala, who's now got some blue in it. 3 mana for 3/3 flying. Beginning of combat on your turn if you have full party, so you need 4 again, you get to obtain something. Otherwise you can sacrifice it to choose hexproof or indestructible, and creatures you control gain that ability. Suffer Spirit already makes everything indestructible. I don't think this will see any play in Coco decks. Oraf, it just really wants stuff to do with clerics. No clerics in older formats. Yashan, you get to search your land for basic forest and basic plains and put them in hand. Players can't pay life or sacrifice non-land permanents to cast spells or activate abilities. Very niche sideboard kind of card. Zareth has Flash. And you can also return an unblocked attacking rogue you control to its own hand, and then you can put this tapped and attacking instead. So it kind of has ninjutsu, it's pretty cool. When there's combination to play, you may put target opponent card from player's graveyard onto the battlefield under control. Yeah, really cool kind of stuff, but again, I don't know if it's going to be able to see play in older formats. Finally, we've got a few more cards here that I think definitely could see play. Forsaken Monument. So this card here could definitely see play in the Eldrazi Tron decks. So colorless creatures control get +2/+2. Whenever you tap opponent for colorless, you get to add an additional colorless, and then when you cast a colorless spell, you gain 2 life. Definitely could see play in the sideboards of Eldrazi Tron. You can kind of get it with your Khan, the Great Creator, and then pump up your team, your Eldrazi, and also give you extra mana to be able to play more stuff, and then give you some life gain, which I think the deck needs a bit of life gain. So very interesting card. It is legendary, just a one of potentially in the sideboards. I can see this being played in Eldrazi Tron. Lith Form Engine is an amazing card for Commander. You get to copy and activate a trigger ability for 2 mana. You get to pay 3 mana to copy target instant sorcery spell, and then 4 mana to copy target opponent spell. Amazing card for Commander. We'll see a lot of play. I think will be one of the more expensive cards in this set, would be my prediction. Mirror Construct, I don't think we'll do much. Skyclave Relic doesn't do much either, so we won't really talk about them. The lands, really cool land cycles here. We got lands that are 2 colors. So, for example, River Glide Pathway. You can come into play as blue, or it can be a Lava Glide Pathway for red. So, can definitely take a slot of if you're playing 2 colors, maybe 3 colors of your basic lands. It comes to play untapped. It's not going to take over the shock lands, definitely, but you could definitely play this instead of a basic land, depending on what you're playing. You want to be able to have some basic lands in your deck in case you get Path to Exile or Field of Ruin, but you can definitely play maybe 1 or 2 of in modern decks. Pioneer definitely could play a few of these in your Pioneer, maybe 4. So there's 6 different color types that you can play, and as like we said earlier, in Caldine there'll be 4 other ones coming into play. And that's basically what we've got so far. There's commander stuff coming, but we won't really worry about that yet. So Zendikar has definitely some potential to reach older formats. There are some cards with some potential there. I believe the artifact and maybe Nissa will be the most expensive cards from this set. Possibly even maybe these lands, depending if they are successful or not in older formats. As well as a couple of these mythic creatures, Scourge of the Skyclaves and Leyline Tyrant, could definitely also see play in older formats. So these are my picks for more expensive kind of cards. Guys, I think Zendikar Rising seems a bit less powered than older sets and standard, but then again they've got this new modal double face cards that could potentially be very, very strong. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think about Zendikar. Am I right? Am I just, talking stuff that doesn't make sense to you guys? Am I missing something? Or do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you think any of these cards that I haven't spoken about might see play in older formats? Do you think any cards I did say might see play in older formats might not instead? Do you think I got it wrong? Let me know in the comments below. Have a bit of a discussion, guys. We're almost getting towards that 100 subscriber. We've got a few more videos coming out. I am thinking of doing some more giveaways, so check out our Facebook if you haven't checked out our Facebook to get more information about those kind of things, and also check out Joshua Pat's MTG Bazaar, the Hangout page where I also post the content and giveaways and stuff like that, if that's what you're after. As always, guys, like, subscribe, share, all that kind of good stuff. Everything on the stack has resolved, and good games, everyone.
G'day everyone, it's Zendikar here. Thanks for checking out the channel. And if you live in Australia and love Magic the Gathering, then our affiliate Facebook group, Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar, is the place to go to purchase awesome singles and sealed product for bargain prices. It's a page where you can bid daily for the cards you need, or for the cards that you don't but can't resist, as the thrill of the hunt is too much to pass. Check them out in the link below.